Tonight, an icy blast bears down on southern Queensland.
Residents set to shiver with temperatures plunging to zero in some areas.
A Bali exodus as airlines struggle to get holidaymakers home.
The Prime Minister wins friends at the LNP conference in Brisbane.
Don't say he isn't hot, he's hot.
The US military invades the top end for war games with Australian troops.
And a potty-mouthed Prince Philip lets loose at a photographer.
Across Queensland, this is 7 News.
Good evening. Southern Queensland is tonight bracing for its biggest cold snap in 15 years.
Icy Antarctic air is approaching the Sunshine State with temperatures expected to plunge to zero in some parts.
Kendall Gilding joins us now, and as well as the chilly temperatures, there have been a few thunderstorms.
Kay, we saw a little bit of rain and storms out west of Bow Desert from about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Those cells tracked south past Springbrook on the Gold Coast before heading into New South Wales. They were generated by that cold front that's just starting to reach us. I'll have more details on how chilly it's going to get later in the bulletin.
Thank you, Kendall. In developing news, a search is underway for a man in his mid-40s who was last seen entering the Brisbane River at the Corso in Yeronga. A woman reported seeing him walk into the river at the Somerville House Rowing Club, but says he did not resurface. Swiftwater crews are at the scene but are being hampered by low light. The first passenger flights in and out of Bali could leave tonight, giving hope to stranded travellers after days of delays. The threat from the volcanic ash cloud cleared with favourable weather, but the airlines are waiting for the final word to say the path is safe. And Jetstar has just confirmed all flights between Bali and Australia will go ahead tonight. There'll be extra services tomorrow to start bringing passengers home.
7 News understands that Maroons captain Cameron Smith is having a rethink and will likely do an interview next week to answer damning claims made in last Sunday's 60 Minutes show. Smith was condemned by Alex McKinnon for his reactions to the tackle which left the former Knights forward paralysed. Smith twice rejected opportunities to air his feelings, but that should change next week. And police are investigating if a sophisticated crime ring is targeting Brisbane Broncos players after a string of home invasions over a 10-day period. Darius Boyd's home was broken into when he was playing in Melbourne last month. His pregnant wife was asleep inside. Boyd's new $100,000 Audi was stolen. Teammates Ben Hunt, Corey Oates and Lachlan Maranta have also been robbed of personal belongings and cars.
Prime Minister Tony Abbott has addressed party faithful at the LNP conference in Brisbane. Political reporter Patrick Condren is at the Convention and Exhibition Centre. Patrick, what did Mr Abbott have to say?
Rod, well, as expected, there was no new announcements in the Prime Minister's speech today. He opted to remind delegates of the work his government had achieved. And of course, it wouldn't be a political convention, a political rally, if you like, without someone having a go at the other side.
The longer the Palaszczuk government lasts, the better the Campbell-Newman government will look.
Now, unfortunately, we had to wait until after the Prime Minister's speech for the highlight of the day. Lorraine Blades was being honoured with a Lifetime Achievement Award. She turned down the traditional handshake, preferring to go in for a big hug before declaring,
Don't say he isn't hot, he's hot.
Now, of course, the real fireworks we're expecting will happen tomorrow morning at the convention. It's the last day, and it's the first time since the January 31 election defeat that grassroots members of the LNP will get an opportunity to question in public their MPs, Lawrence Springborg and his shadow ministry. Now, of course, the parliamentary wing of the party will have to explain to the grassroots how they squandered so much political capital to go from government to opposition in a single term.
Thank you, Patrick Condren reporting. The Abbott government has confirmed plans for random checks on parents to make sure they qualify for a new childcare subsidy. A discussion paper on the government's childcare overhaul also suggests it wants to dump guidelines which give priority to working families.
Major European powers are in crisis talks to decide the fate of Greece after its lawmakers backed reforms for a third massive bailout plan. The Greek Parliament's U-turn on austerity measures has brought both anger and hope to the debt-ridden country.
Coming up tonight, what happened to a man who allegedly doused himself in petrol at Cairns Airport?
Under attack, a huge car bomb explodes outside an embassy.
A brawl at the ballpark. What sparked this wild fight?
Prince Philip loses his cool on camera.
And before weather, how an app can help with the housework.
A would-be burglar has been arrested after a strange 9-hour standoff with police on the roof of a Melbourne Bunnings store. Police say he was trying to break into the store by scaling the roof, but got stuck. He refused to come down, daring police to reach him and entertaining the crowd of onlookers below. Officers moved in after 9 hours.
To a developing story from Cairo now, where a car bomb has torn through the Italian consulate, killing at least one person and injuring many more. The bomb exploded at one of the busiest intersections in Cairo. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack.
Pope Francis has visited one of the world's most dangerous jails on the final leg of his South American pilgrimage. He met with inmates and their families at the notorious Palmasola prison in Bolivia, which is home to some of the country's worst murderers, rapists and drug dealers.
A violent brawl has broken out between two baseball coaches in Alaska. It began after one of the men was kicked out of the stadium for arguing with the home umpire. All of it unfolded in front of a group of children. No word yet on whether the pair will be disciplined. Next tonight, cheers and tears as the Confederate flag is lowered from South Carolina's capital for good.
Hollywood mourns the death of screen legend Omar Sharif.
Former Gold Coast Sun star hits the water for his toughest test yet.
The Brisbane dancers with disabilities taking to the world stage.
And tying the knot in a Vegas-style wedding on the Gold Coast.
Inside the billion-dollar family drama, neglected by her father.
But he was there for you.
He wasn't there for me.
How she went from working in a supermarket to a millionaire.
The biggest payout in Australian history.
Her untold story exclusively on 7 Sunday night.
It flew over South Carolina's Capitol grounds for more than half a century, but took just minutes to take down. The Confederate flag, which many viewed as a symbol of hatred, was lowered for good in front of a cheering crowd today.
New figures show more than 600 sharks were trapped on baited drumlines and nets off Queensland's coast in the past year. But in New South Wales, which has fewer safeguards, there are calls to take more action. 3 shark attacks have been recorded there in recent weeks. For more details on the push for better protection, pick up a copy of tomorrow's Sunday Mail. Still to come, Kendall Gilding with the latest on the cold snap headed our way.
Also tonight, a man fronts court charged over a security scare at Cairns Airport.
The rise of the stroller snob. Who are the worst offenders?
And where you can indulge in a French feast this weekend.
The truth about sugar. What it's really doing to your brain. Find out next week on Sunrise. And we'll show you how you can be a part of the restaurant revolution.
Come on in, Brisbane.
Your chance to win a trip to New York and serious moolah will be going off.
Unbelievable.
The Dancing with the Stars cast share their fear of dancing live. And which superstars will drop in next week.
Only on Sunrise on 7.
A man who allegedly forced Cairns Airport to be evacuated will be kept behind bars over the weekend. The South Korean tourist who missed his flight allegedly poured petrol on himself and made threats with a lighter. More than 500 people were evacuated from the Cairns domestic terminal yesterday afternoon. The man will face court on Monday. Brisbane foodies are being treated to a piece of Paris this weekend as a French festival takes over South Bank's cultural precinct. More than 2,000 bottles of champagne and wine were ordered for the event and more than a tonne of cheese. French music, fashion and cabaret also on offer until tomorrow evening.
Still ahead in 7 News. The new cleaning service inspired by Uber's ride-sharing app. How to get a fully vetted cleaner to your door within hours. Those details just before weather. But right now, it's time for sport. Here's Paddy.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello everyone. Coming up tonight, Life After Origin about to start for the Broncos as Blues selectors get an unsubtle reminder that they got it wrong. Can Michael Clark's Aussies match the Invincibles? We're about to find out. And Roger Federer proves again he's not yet done. The Broncos start their post-Origin run to the final shortly against the Bulldogs side laced with dejected Blues players. Tonight, the third-place Roosters are edging Penrith, while Canberra's Blake Austin excelled in the capital. Gary Ablett's Suns are chasing back-to-back wins for the first time this season in Cairns tonight. So far in round 15, the Tigers moved to 5th spot, while Essendon put a turbulent week behind to beat the Demons. The All England club has its dream final with Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer shoving their semi-final opponents aside in straight sets overnight. They cleared the way for the world number one to chase his third Wimbledon title and Federer his 8th. Something for everyone there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pat. Tomorrow on Sunday night, an exclusive interview with Olivia Mead, the teenager with a billionaire father fighting for her share of a vast iron ore fortune.
The teenage daughter of a dead WA billionaire is contesting her father's will for the first time.
It was always my decision. He is my dad.
The bomb-driving teenage checkout chick.
For a long time, I thought that maybe he didn't love me.
Olivia took on a powerful family empire and won. The kid who wouldn't give up, determined to get the respect she deserves.
No matter what people say about me, I know who I am.
Morning, everyone! I saw something amazing today. When she was in the room with the children, she was lucid and forming completely perfect sentences.
I know. I know.
Is it magic? Is it a grace-filled moment or a past experience that is triggered? We know that our job is to help make that happen.
That's Sunday night after House Rules tomorrow. Next, we'll check the fuel prices for the week ahead.
And how a new app can get your housework done for you.
And it's going to be a cold finish to the weekend. Only 17 degrees tomorrow with strong chilly winds. The forecast and coastal conditions after the break.
Checking today's main stories now, and southern Queensland is facing its biggest cold snap in 15 years. A search is underway for a man in his mid-40s last seen entering the Brisbane River at Yeronga. And Jetstar flights will resume between Bali and Australia tonight as volcanic ash finally clears. Let's check fuelcast now, and the RACQ says drivers should try to hold off buying fuel until prices fall further.
And now the weather with Kendall Gilding.
Thank you, Rod. Good evening again. It was a fairly mild winter day around Queensland, but cold, windy conditions are coming. Right now, it's 18 degrees in Ipswich. Humidity is sitting on 63%. Around the southeast today, it was mostly sunny. A few thunderstorms out west in the afternoon. 23 degrees on the Sunshine Coast. Brisbane reached a top of 21. On the satellite, there's some patchy low cloud lingering over eastern Queensland, but it's this low front that's actually driving most of the weather across eastern Australia. There's plenty of rain and storms, as you can see, in southern states. Looking further ahead, that cold front is going to move closer to the coast and start impacting us tomorrow. We'll see the winds change to westerly, and that will really bring the temperature down. Taking a look at the capitals tomorrow, cold and wet for Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne and Hobart, but the rest of the country should be beautiful and sunny. In North Queensland, all areas are in for sunshine over the next few days. 18 to 26 in Cairns, 23 degrees in Mackay. Further south, sunny in Rockhampton, 21 degrees. The chance of a shower along the coastline there, 19 degrees for Bundaberg, Hervey Bay and Maryborough. In the southeast, we're in for a sunny but very cold day. Those tops should be around 17 to 18 degrees. That's about 4 degrees below average, but the wind chill will make it feel even cooler. To the suburbs, we've got similar conditions, but the overnight temperatures will be a little bit warmer on the coast, 12 to 17 in Redcliffe, 16 degrees in Mount Gravatt. Out on the water, there's a strong wind warning in place tomorrow. Northwesterlies will push about 30 knots and season swell will be around 1 metre. In the city, a windy but sunny day, 11 degrees overnight, which is fairly normal for this time of year, but that top of 17 degrees will feel cool. On the 7-day forecast, temperatures will keep dropping, 7 to 16 on Monday and down to just 5 degrees on Wednesday night. In Ipswich, there'll be even cooler minimums, sunshine on Tuesday, 13 to 17 degrees and down to possibly 0 on Wednesday night. And on the Gold Coast, windy, sunny days to start the week, 7 to 17 on Tuesday. Now let's take a look at the coastal conditions for tomorrow.
And that's all from us this Saturday.
From the team, good night.
Good night.